everyone, welcome back to my channel. It has been a while, but I am back and I want to review the new eyeliners by Eldridge. I did order these on expedited shipping. They came in the mail yesterday, but it was 9 o'clock at night. So therefore I didn't film with them, but I want to film with them now because I have a full day ahead so I can do a wear test. And the most questions I got was how do they compare with the Victoria Beckham Beauty Kajals. So what I want to do for this video is I first want to show you guys what it looks like on the eyes. It's gonna be a video with only natural lighting because I didn't charge my batteries for my lights. But what I want to do is I want to show you guys what it looks like on the eyes. I got 4 shades out of the 6 shades that they launched. So I want to show you all the shades that I got. Then I'll take off one of the eyes and I'll try to mimic the same eye with the Victoria Beckham Beauty Kajal liners on the other side, and I want to do a wear test for you guys, basically Eldridge versus Victoria Beckham Beauty, and see which one holds up better. Like always, I want to start with some details first. These new eyeliners by Eldridge, they retail for 29 euros. I'll put the prices in dollars and pounds down below as well. They have a 24-month shelf life. It's called the Seamless Glide Eye Pencil, and they come in this white packaging, very Eldridge-esque. Everything is on brand, and she decided to go for the black pencil, which makes it really look so much like the Victoria Beckham Beauty one. It's almost like she looked at the packaging of the Victoria Beckham Beauty one and she was like, that's my competitor, let's do this. It probably isn't like that, but it kind of felt this way. It has a net weight of 1.2 grams, 24 months shelf life. I have the ingredient list somewhere as well that I put over here, and it's made in Germany. So those are some of the details out of the way. They're €1 cheaper than the Victoria Beckham Beauty ones. Now I love the Victoria Beckham Beauty ones. I try to keep all of the Victoria Beckham Beauty ones, and I don't need a lot of colorful liners, to be honest, because I like just the brown tones, the easy tones. So I did get 4 of the shades out of the 6, and they're kind of the more wearable shades. I have some swatches over here. They're 2 different finishes, and the first that I really wanted to have was Renaissance Gold. This is one of the shimmer finishes. This is a blackened metallic gold with a cool champagne pearl. I also got Cinder Smoke, which is a cool gray with a subtle pearl. I'll be honest, with the Cinder Smoke, I barely see any pearl. I think with the Renaissance Gold, you can definitely see more pearls in the swatch. But this seems like a proper gray toned, and I was thinking about using this, for example, with my Vega palette. Then, of course, I went into the browns. I had to get the classic brown liner, Ground Coffee. It's basically a neutral deep matte brown. The last one that I got is an interesting shade to me, Burnt Umber, which is a rich, warm matte brown. Now the swatches have been on for quite some time. I just want to rub my finger over it, see how they perform. Okay, so they've been on for quite some time, but there is a little bit of smudging. Of course, I also wanted to swatch some of my Victoria Beckham Beauty Kajals as well. I have nearly all of them. The only one I don't have is Spice, which is a random Kajal that apparently was available for some people. I couldn't get it. I have no idea how you guys got this like secret Kajal on the website, but that's the only one I don't have. And I saw some similarities off the bat right away. So let's first look at the Renaissance Gold. When I swatched Renaissance Gold, I knew right away it looked exactly like this shade, this jewel liner, Smoky Quartz from Victoria Beckham Beauty. Oh my god, these are basically the same. If you have Smoky Quartz, then you do not need this one by Eldridge. I think Eldridge does say that you can put these in the waterline, whereas Victoria Beckham Beauty actually says that these jewel liners are not for the waterline. I did want to compare it to some other favorites of mine. Of course, I gotta compare it to Bronze, but Bronze is a metallic from Victoria Beckham Beauty. Metallics are not currently present in Eldridge's line, so it's definitely gonna have a different finish. And lastly, I wanted to compare it to another gel liner formula, which is the Hourglass gel liners, and I have mine in the shade, what is this shade again? Solstice. And you'll see that Solstice is much warmer, whereas the other 3, so the Victoria Beckham Beauty Smoky Quartz, the Victoria Beckham Beauty Bronze, and the Lisa Eldridge Renaissance Gold. They're much cooler in tone, but I did think it was relevant because we're looking at a gel liner. Anyway, let's go to the second shade that I wanted to swatch for you guys, which of course is the most wearable, probably the one that you guys are the most interested in, and that is Ground Coffee. It's this beautiful brown, and you'll see it right here, and I swatched it next to Cocoa from Victoria Beckham Beauty, which is their, I think, their most famous shade. And I have another one of the Hourglass gel liners, the Voyeur waterproof gel liners in the shade Cave. And here you'll see that these are very similar. I actually think that the Victoria Beckham Beauty and the Hourglass are the most similar, and the Lisa Eldridge one is slightly more neutral. Now, when I opened this one, the tip was broken, so these are very soft. And I know that a lot of you have the same problem with the Victoria Beckham Beauty ones, that once you open them, sometimes you just nick the little tip and then it falls off. So that happens to my Lisa Eldridge one, so I'm assuming that they're also going to be a very soft formula. When you first apply these as swatches, you see how wet of a eyeliner this is, but it does dry down, as you can see in these swatches, because they do look, oh, they all look like matte. So this is the matte formula by Lisa Eldridge, and I compared it to two other matte formulas. Now, a shade I was very interested in by Lisa Eldridge is Burnt Umber, which is a more warm tone brown, a little bit brighter. And I was hoping I didn't have any dupes for this one. This one and Renaissance Gold were the two that I really wanted to have. And I did do some swatches, and I want to say that this is the most different out of all of them, out of my collection. This is a beautiful warm toned brown by Lisa Eldridge, and I compare it to Bordeaux, which is of course going to be a little bit more Bordeaux by Victoria Beckham Beauty. They're similar in like depth, but they're definitely different in tone. Bordeaux is of course way more Bordeaux red. Then I was scouring my collection thinking, what else can I compare this to? And I think I have a bit of a dupe in my collection, which is the Hindash Eye Tone in the shade Intra. These are very similar, but I think the Hindash one is a bit more neutral brown, whereas the Burnt Umber is more warm tones. And I think if you're gonna go for an eyeliner like Burnt Umber, you're gonna expect more warm tones. So you're gonna choose to have more warm tones. The one that I added at the end of the card, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna buy these three. I ended up adding this one. Of course, Cinder Smoke is the one that I'm talking about. I wanted Cinder Smoke. I wanted to see what it looks like with the Vega palette. I wanted to test it out, and I added it in last minute. And I want to compare it, of course, to Victoria Beckham Beauty's Ash, which is also a beautiful matte gray. And here you see the two next to each other, and I want to say they look more different than I expected. Ash by Victoria Beckham Beauty is actually deeper, more black, whereas Cinder Smoke has a very slight reflect in it. It is part of the like more pearl colors by Lisa Eldridge, so not the matte formula. And I also compared it to Victoria Beckham Beauty's Sea Gray, which is like a pure metallic, almost like a jewel liner, but it is ranked as a metallic. I think if you combine Ash and Sea Gray by Victoria Beckham Beauty, you're gonna get a very similar eyeshadow slash eyeliner as the Lisa Eldridge Cinder Smoke. Let's first start with the first one, Renaissance Gold. And I am not wearing anything on the lids, but as you can see, I do have some residue concealer that I'll just try to kind of wipe down a little bit. I try to keep the lid like as bare as possible, but once you do your makeup, you always have a little bit of, you know, added concealer in spots. So Renaissance Gold, I feel, although it's like the brightest liner, it is still it's dark. Like, you can definitely line the eyes with this. I'm trying to find something to smudge. Oh, I should prep better. Let's find, I'm gonna use this Sonia G Worker Pro. See if I could just smudge this out all over the lid. You know what? This is so cool toned. I have to make this maybe like a cool toned moment. Here you see what this looks like. You definitely see a few bits of glitter reflect, but it's very, very minimal. I think that blended out very easily. Now this eye, I don't know why, but there is always a pigment spot over here where pigment just doesn't want to stick to. So I want to give it a benefit of the doubt. If you're thinking it looks a little muddy, guys, I have one weird, you see this? I have it with eyeshadow as well. For some reason, pigment just doesn't like that spot. But that went on really fast. It blended out really easily. I think you can even build it up a little bit more. So let's build it up on the side. And I'll tell you, this color looked so different on Lisa Eldridge. She did a video where she demoed and swatched all of these colors. The way she talks about makeup, she's so knowledgeable. She always gets me super excited for everything. Okay, so these are buildable. This is what that looks like. You know, I actually really love shades like this. I do. I wanted to do a warm tone eye, but I think this is so cool toned that I'm gonna have to continue with maybe a cool toned. Like maybe I'll just try this one with the ground coffee shade. So let's put ground coffee, and I want to put this as a liner. I didn't, as you can tell, I didn't sharpen this because I'm lazy. I'm just taking a defining like liner brush. All right, this is almost wet looking. Oh, where's the sun gone? I'm so afraid it looks gray for you guys. Now, this is a thick liner. This is not usually how I would line, but I want to show you guys how to layer these and what it looks like. I'm gonna see if my battery for my light is charged a little bit because I don't feel like you guys can see the full effect of this. This is what that looks like. Let's put a little bit on the bottom. It is so soft, guys. There is ample amount of blending time. Create a very beautiful smoky eye with this. I mean, this is much like much more smoky than I initially was going for. I'm gonna take just a clean brush and just seeing if I can tone down some of that smokiness a little bit. So this is ground coffee and Renaissance Gold. On the other side, I'll start with Burns Umber. This almost applies like a liquid liner. Taking a REPHR 23. This is beautiful. Now I will never do a line this thick unless I'm going to like a party, but this is just really nice for me to show you guys the potential of this shade. Then of course, the last one, Cinder Smoke. I'm gonna put it on my bottom. Again, going in much thicker than I usually would because I want to show you guys the potential of this shade. Basically how it creates a gradient. Does it smudge out? I know the eye looks wild. Do not get me wrong. I'm fully aware. So these are the 4 colors demoed. What I want to do is I want to take off, I think, you know what? I'm going to take off both eyes and then I'm going to mimic one side Victoria Beckham Beauty and the other side Lisa Eldridge. I'll be right back. Okay, so this ended up being my final look. I used 2 liners on each eye, and on the bottom lash line I did use some eyeshadow. Personally, not that much difference. Like off the bat, we're kind of looking at a very similar eye look. I think the big difference is going to be how they wear and if they wear the same. But as of right now, I don't see much difference. So for you guys, this side is Lisa Eldridge. I put Renaissance Gold up top, and on the bottom lash line, I put Cinder Smoke. And this taupey shade from the Vega palette, I put on the bottom lash line to sort of smoke out the lash line. These are all Lisa Eldridge shadows, but this is a sort of custom palette because I like to, you know, have fun with the palettes. Then on the other side, I have Victoria Beckham Beauty Smoky Quartz up top, Ash, of course, in the waterline down below, And I used the signature palette, this camel shade, on the bottom lash line to kind of smoke that out. And I put on some mascara, and this is what it looks like. Now I put this on and it was 11 o'clock. I did just have lunch, so I hope there's nothing in my teeth. But I put this on, it was 11 o'clock, and I want to do a wear test for you guys. So I'm going to show you the footage of the wear test, of course. I want to do an 8-hour wear test, and I want to show you guys what it looks like, and at that time I'll give you my final thoughts. So this is me all up close. It's about like 8.5 hours since I applied everything. Now, to remind you guys, this side is the Lisa Eldridge side, and this is the Victoria Beckham Beauty side. I think it's best to kind of talk to you guys about the Victoria Beckham Beauty first, and then talk to you about my comparisons and my like everything about the Lisa Eldridge ones, because I'm very well versed in the Victoria Beckham Beauty Satin Kajal liners. I love these eyeliners, but not typically to line my eyes. If I do line my eyes, I tend to take off a lot of the shadow or smudge out a lot of the shadow, because this is an emollient formulation that travels, especially on my oily eyelids. I tend to prime, and if I'm not priming, then I tend to put a eyeshadow on top of it. I'm basically using it kind of as a stain or a bottom like base color to have an eye look that can continue on throughout the entire day. So I have a specific use for the Satin Kajal liners that is not the same as, for example, when I use a liquid liner. After 8 hours, you definitely see some wear and tear. Often with the darker shadows, or often with the darker liners, you do see a line up top because I have a hooded lid, so it does push the top off. And there is a bit of travel down the bottom. It's not too bad, but there is some fading. The upside is it's really, like, it's a beautiful formula. It's very blendable. You can use them to increase your wear on your eyeshadows, and I use them all the time. I also love the color range because Victoria Beckham Beauty has so many colors. I get inspired by them. They last a while. They are very pigmented. 30 euros for European and 29 euros for the Lisa Eldridge ones. They're about, I think, the same in terms of the amount of products you get, because this Victoria Beckham Beauty one does have a smudger at the back. But that €1 is not going to make that much difference in, like, you know, like whether or not you want to pick these up. Maybe there are a bigger price difference when it comes to, like, if you're living in the US, for example. I think a lot of you guys still pay a hefty tax for Lisa Eldridge. But with that said, I actually really like the Kajal formula. It's not for everyone. Some people just find it smudges way too much, and you're looking for a stronger hold, and I would definitely say then go for a liquid liner, because if you want to have that crisp line, that liquid liner is the way to go. Whereas if you want to use it sort of as an eyeshadow base, smudge it out if you're a smudger, then the Kajals are amazing. Now let's talk about the Lisa Eldridge one. First off the bat, it was a little bit more pigmented, and I actually think that the pigments held up better, in my opinion, than the Victoria Beckham Beauty one. This one also has some, you know, as you staining or stamping on top of my lid. That's quite normal for me because of my hooded lid. So this happens all the time with gel liners or Kajals. But I actually think less traveling happened here. With that said, these formulas tend to be very similar. Like, honestly, when I was applying these, it was like using the same formula. They blended out like a dream, both of them. The colorway, so the color story that Lisa Eldridge has, yeah, I think you can dupe nearly all of the colors. Maybe Burns Umber is the only one that's a little bit unique, but all of the other colors are dupable. The only two colors I didn't get from Lisa Eldridge was a black, so that's dupable because I have a black liner from Victoria Beckham Beauty, and there was a sort of like sequin green looking thing. And I have olive and a few other greens by Victoria Beckham Beauty, so I'm sure I was able to dupe that as well. So with that said, although I do like the colors, so the 6 colors that Lisa Eldridge came out with, if you're a like Victoria Beckham Beauty stan like I am and you have a lot of these liners, I'll tell you right now, you do not need the Lisa Eldridge ones. I think that even though the Lisa Eldridge one held up a little bit better, it's still suffering from like the same like ailments. There is some travel. It's not fully, like, you know, it doesn't fully set down. But basically, if you enjoy the Satin Kajals, you would enjoy this formulation as well by Lisa Eldridge. Like, that's the best way I can put it. If you don't have a lot of these Satin Kajals and you like Lisa Eldridge as a brand, I think that you'll enjoy this formulation. If you like using your eyeliners as smudgy liners or bases, I actually think you would enjoy the Lisa Eldridge ones. What I'm sort of missing about the Lisa Eldridge ones was a brighter shade, because the lightest shade that they have was Renaissance Gold, and that one is quite dark. And I was looking for maybe one more warm tone shade. Like, I actually really like warm tones. So in terms of criticism, I think shade range, they could expand on it. These were all quite deep. I would like to see some like different color stories, but formulation wise, it is a formulation that I like, but it is a formulation that is so similar to the Kajals by Victoria Beckham Beauty that I don't think I needed both. Just check it out and see how these were, and let me know if you see a lot of difference. I think this is everything that I wanted to say to you guys. Thank you guys all so much for watching, being patient with me, probably like adjusting to my uploading schedule, and I hope that this video was helpful for you guys. If this is the first video you saw of me, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. If you do want to shop any of the eyeliners, I'll put the links of both the Victoria Beckham Beauty and Lisa Eldridge down below. Comment down below if you have any questions regarding these liners. And of course, have a very beautiful, happy, and healthy day. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!